Varus pick up a couple of kills in their game against the Copenhagen Wolves, I believe, and just overall, yeah, he still is that fantastic player in the mid lane, and against this shaky SK Gaming that now no longer has to play for anything because they dodged the auto relegation spot down in the bottom of the table. They might play with a little more freedom, at the same time might not play with as much of conviction either.
The last time SK said they were playing without weight on their shoulders, they played fantastically. CandyPanda talked about it after the match 2 weeks ago. He said how well and how easy it is to play. They are definitely in the promotion tournament. They're definitely in 9th place. We round out the bans with Twisted Fate, Kog'Maw, and Rise, targeted towards Elements. Elements reply with Nidalee, Shen, and Sivir. So Kalista is up and available.
I think it's good to not ban Kalista against SK Gaming because they haven't really shown that they really want that champion. They value Corki over it. See if Tabzz wants to play it. I still like Tristana into Corki. Still like Kalista into Corki. I really think you should probably pick her up if you can patch up what you lack in those champions, which is, of course, you know, control in the mid lane, but a wave clear. But Froggen's champion pool right now consists out of all those champions that offer that anyway, so could be good to see that happen.
Varus is available, but not something that's picked this early.
Froggen really likes counter picking on purple side for the right reasons. Obviously, he can just straight up win that matchup in the mid lane against Fox if he gets the counter pick, or at least a very big CS lead.
So most of the pressure in bans has been on the mid lane. A couple of junglers taken out. Well, there goes our theory. Varus is locked in this early.
I could be wrong. Don't mind being wrong.
Not know why. But
so let's see what they hold their last pick for.
The other side,
it has to almost be Jwaow because jungle's been locked in. You could do part of bot lane because yesterday we saw Nyph step up for the first time in the last few weeks. That he's actually took control of the early game. His roams were essential at getting elements ahead, and he even touched on that in the post game interview. He even got first blood, I believe, on that thresh. So fantastic roaming from him. And elements, they can still build into anything with this composition. Worst case, you can even rotate the Varus bot as AD carry.
Not unheard of.
Technically a flex pick.
But is a little unlikely, I guess.
Yeah, given it how good Froggen is on Varus.
And for Svenskeren, he is most likely going to lock in this Gragas. It is his most played champion. 5 games this split.
I want to see him play in Italy here instead. I really don't like the Gragas. Oh, it's banned, of course. That's why. Fantastic choice, this Gragas. I was testing you, Trevor.
Oh yeah, Tahm Kench was banned.
Yesterday.
It was banned. It is locked in. Patch 5.13. The frog is here for Freddy.
And yeah, this technically speaking, is a flex pick for support, but it is. I have barely seen it in solo queue. I've been playing a lot more games recently, and Tahm Kench support, the few times I saw it was absolutely horrible. And perhaps it was the players, you know, perhaps it was just a matchup, but they didn't look that great. On the top lane, however, it's just a nuisance. Continuous, annoying type of champion, and that is perfect for Freddy's playstyle.
I also like the fact that they could deliver somebody directly behind Varus. We'll see on how effectively Freddy or nRated can use that Abyssal Voyage. We'll break down some of the mechanics of Tahm Kench in-game. For Elements, they now have to deal with the interesting first ever River King in Summer LCS. Jwaw's going to lock in that Rumble, not going to go for the last counter pick. Instead, potentially moving Varus to Tabzz and getting Froggen a mid laner, realistically finding an AD carry that Tabzz wants to play.
Yeah, definitely wanna piece that puzzle together by getting an AD carry. I don't think Froggen's going to switch over. However, they will still have information for the later pick. Fox is still locked into a matchup here. Irelia mid is available, which some people like running into poke. Obviously, Freddy has been playing at champion Tahm Kench a lot in solo queue. That's how we saw it banned yesterday against him. Just want to see how it plays out. How much experience does Jwaow have as well? Because with these new champions, they might not be as great as one would expect. The thing is, you will always have a leg up because you just put in 10, 15, 20 games on this champion, and you're playing against people that have experience on their champions against everything that is metagame, but they're not really ready for the cheese.
Stress had a fantastic line when we were talking about Tahm Kench this week and how part of the reason Freddy is spamming it is to test the limits of every matchup. Rumble is a very common top lane pick in solo queue, so you know Freddy's going to have some experience in that. You'd like to think Jwaw's run into him, but we don't know for sure. Nautilus now locked in for nRated. Again, could go top. Freddy has also run Nautilus before. We're not expecting it. Fox is going to get his hands on Irelia, and it could be a last pick Kalista. That's not something you hear or see every day.
Yep.
It
Kalista
is.
makes it down all the way to the bottom. Kalista, Alistar. Very, very good laning phase. Very good defense, good offense, especially into the melee support like Nautilus. So a lot of bully potential here. Well rounded out composition. Has some wave clear. Has some engage. Good secondary engage from the equalizer. Very, very. I would almost call this pre-poke meta composition from Elements, a little older.
Okay.
Barring maybe the Varus in the middle lane, but you can replace that with anything else. And then those picks were the top tier picks coming into the summer split, obviously. And Freddy's, he's happy. And we'll just have to see how he plays that Tahm Kench, you know, how he uses that acquired taste. That's the passive of Tahm Kench. If you stack it up, then your abilities change around and just do different things all the time. Is he going to stun people, you know, with that tongue lash? Is he going to swallow his teammates' enemies? What is he going to do? What will he bring to the table? We don't know.
I also want to see just how many hit points he gets from his E. That thick skin converts your HP. We know he's going to build tanky. He's top lane.
Yep.
Tahm Kench, the River King. In the summer split, SK Gaming are locked into the promotion tournament. There's no way for them to avoid that. They are playing with no pressure on their shoulders. Elements could play 7th again for the second split in a row, could go to promotion tournament, or they could win this, probably make playoffs. Will the River King pick up his first win? Hashtag SK win. Or hashtag L win if you believe in Froggen and the boys.
Crowd is ready. Hate to disappoint, it is very likely that it'll be incredibly boring lane up top.
No, don't tell me that.
Because it's just a slow champion whittling away. Look at him go. Get that Tahm Kench booty. He does put his hips into it. Hips don't lie. But the matchup I prefer to watch is the one in the mid lane, Irelia into Varus. I think that's always very interesting to see how these players approach it, how much aggression they're willing to make, and you know how Froggen will play around that. He obviously brings Cleanse to the table to get out of Equilibrium Strike, but also get rid of the Ignite. Defensive Summoner, very good on poke champions. And then yeah, how well have Tabzz and Nyph play together? How well is their synergy developed now that they're playing a lane with so much outplay potential?
We will find out shortly as CandyPanda is going to connect a little fast bomb onto Tabzz. And of course, how does Freddy play the split push? Because Freddy, the top laner, is somebody that likes to sit alone in a lane. He likes to push it out, has been known to be very greedy for farm, give up kills. And the ultimate on that Abyssal Voidage does not have the greatest of ranges. So he'll need to position appropriately and correctly if he wants to make an effective sort of flank or engage.
But Freddy stylistically as a top laner, not as a Tahm Kench top laner, just the reason that worked for SK Gaming so often in the past is because not only was he doing that, everybody else was doing that. And if all your lanes are pushing beyond what is naturally the safe limit, that means if people overextend, just like they did against Cabochard last game against Gambit, you know, you send multiple people top to deal with that aggressive pusher, then at the other side of the map you can take advantage, you can take towers. SK wants those triple pushing lanes, however now they did a very hard time getting tower damage in the mid lane. Let's see if they're used to playing with a different style here. Both bot laners taking a camp. That passive is obviously fantastic on the Grom, 12% every time 2 hits come out. You can see a lot of action level 1 from this bot lane.
Tabzz and Nyph want to get an advantage early. We'll track that. There's this top lane action that we're not expecting too much to go from. Freddy's going to be able to sustain any harass that Quickshot puts down. And then nRated and Candy going to try this race to level 2. It looks like Elements have backed away. They've conceded the battle.
Elements have to concede. That Riptide was placed out of like counter trade range, but then procs on all the minions and then combined with Phosphorus Bomb, you can't deal with it. The lane kind of over pushed to an extent. So Elements won't lose too much. They'll just have to farm very well on their tower. And putting the heat on Fox. He doesn't have any minion to jump to right now. He's going to look at that range skip right there. But then he would dash into a full minion wave, so Fox can stay there again. So he's safe within his minions.
Exit plan minion was not in place. But Fox went for Flash Ignite. Let's see if that's going to help him out. 2 Ignites on the side of SK.
Sven's in base, but Dexter stayed well sustained here. Looking to early gank. No ward for Freddy. This could be a summoner blown immediately in the game already.
Tunnel, 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 tunnel. Tunnel, tunnel, tunnel! Flash.
Yep.
Well,
good correct play on both sides.
So, Freddy, summon a spell down on a low mobility top laner. If that wave pushes out at all, a little difficult.
1 out of the last 4 CS, I believe. So yeah, he got the splash, but he farming though. Freddy will get ahead of you in the 1v1. Satisfying though, the loss to the cannon creep with Tahm Kench.
Jwaow on that rumble. 3 games this split. Got himself 2 wins and a loss. Dexter's just going to show his face in the battle. Actually going to get stunned by Fox. Trying to make the most efficient route to his blue buff possible. Small detour.
It is some pressure though. Take some mana away from the Irelia in the mid lane. SK posturing for a potential invade. They saw Dexter top.
Did they get the buff? I don't think that they did.
No, the buff is still up obviously. They saw Dexter top without blue buff, so they know the buff is still alive. Just a little wary about the invade. Jwaow did make his way down there for potential counterplay.
Big stun from Fox. Trading auto attacks, and Froggen will reply in kind. Both mid laners with those crystalline flasks. So
now is this buff going to go to Froggen, or is Svenskeren going to try and steal it? This could be a big change here. If Froggen walks over to snipe it, obviously Svenskeren. This one brought over.
Out of range. Dexter is able to pull the buff into the bush. And no theft from Sven. But Sven, despite his lanes not being super pushed, he's got enough freedom thanks from mid to go for that small attempted steal.
Yeah, pressure from Fox now on Froggen, and Froggen's next blue buff will only spawn at 9:45, so he'll be behind in that poke war. He is safe under his tower though. At this point, Fox can't dash in for counter trades. He's so close to the tower, so Froggen very comfortable in that position. His flask is still ticking. Bot lane seems very passive, so I guess we're back to watching Tahm Kench. Let's see what Freddy is maxing here. Going for the traditional Q max because he wants to poke in lane. The tongue lash over and over and over. Facilitate last hits.
We just caught a glimpse there of that devour and regurgitate. There's the option to pick up a minion and
There's Sven in the bot lane.
lob it. Kalista, Tabzz gonna flash away. Summon a spell blown just from Sven showing his face.
Not, I think they could have killed Tabzz. He just flashed. Body slam flash, ignite. Okay, perhaps I'm wrong. Passive approach from SK Gaming. Want to hold on to their summoners.
The option was there, but opted not to go for it. Link Smite picked up for Dexter, as opposed to skirmishing. Fox out of mana, but here comes Sven. Flash and cleanse still up for Froggen. If Sven chases, find himself by Dexter, and Dexter's going to clear that ward out instantly.
Do ping out Dexter on the map, so everybody's aware of each other's positions right here. See if Dexter goes for a counter raid. He saw how low Fox was, but he gets spotted by the River Ghost, or the Wolf Ghost rather. He doesn't want to go in anymore, so mid-game or early game rather, neutralized completely. 0-0 on the board. Gold is even. Want to wait for these power spikes in terms of levels. Level 6 Kalista obviously allows your Alistar to play a lot more aggressively. In addition to that Unbreakable Will, that's get out of fail free card, you have another one, which is the Fate's Call. You can play dumb aggression almost.
And of course, with Candy and nRated getting to that early level 2, they have a CS advantage. Nyph gonna go for a slightly aggressive trade, and nRated actually pulls him in with that dredge line. And the wave is slowly pushing back towards Elements, so we'll be able to make up some of that CS shortly.
Now, in this season of League of Legends, bot lanes have yet to be really aggressive because there's always double teleport that are available. And that's why aggression has slowed down. Fox is obviously looking to dash into a minion here, might get counter gang.
He's got all the way in. Sheen is up. Very early cleanse from Froggen. Fox is in trouble. 250 hit points. The chomp comes down from Dexter. They're forced to get away. Fox stays alive.
And that's the difference between Varus on level 6 or 9 later on as he gets that CDR. Gets more levels on that Q. The second arrow will come out sooner, and then Fox would have died. It's very interesting that he actually managed to survive that even without the exit minion. We very so often talk about aggression from SK bot, mid, and top. Playing into their additional style almost.
Not the greatest of CSing in the tower. The bonus damage from that Sentinel or Nyph, difficult to enact when he's melee.
This bot lane has been almost untouched, barring Svenskeren picking in one time, and Tabzz with his last pick, Kalista, is now down 11 CS in this lane, so his pick is obviously not paying off. If you counterpick your bot lane, you rotate your entire draft around counterpicking the AD carry, you should be up in CS. So it's not like Kalista scales that much better than Corki into the mid game anyway, so interesting.
Of course, for this top lane matchup, still small lead for Freddy, continuing to max that tongue lash on his Q. We've not seen too much trading actually from either Jwaow.
Yeah, but Jwaow is happy farming this out, obviously. It's hard to imagine that there will be a champion with more team fight utility than a Rumble on that Tahm Kench. See, we get to see it. Here's teleport down below though.
Jwaow.
And his Valkyrie should still be up.
He's going to come in behind. Equalizer comes down at a slightly awkward angle. Candy's made it out alive. nRated is going to be the focus. Jwaw's flash to get in for the slow and the assist. nRated goes down.
Yeah, nRated flashes, throws out the dredge line, just doesn't connect with the wall. He must have moved it. Sneaky, sneaky map editors. Just a pixel to the left, just to screw it in. A bit of a misplay, he gets down, but at the same time, CandyPanda still survives and can pick up that wave on the tower for teleport. I'm not even sure if it's worth it, honestly. They get a kill. First blood on Kalista still is very good. And Dexter's picking up the farm on top lane. That does make it worth it in the end. Elements are not losing resources as a team, unless they get counterplayed on the top lane right now.
Slightly deep ward there from Svenskeren. Entry to the jungle. Fox has already begun to roam. There's no flash, there's no teleport. And Dexter's already used his tunnel. Freddy, 2 procs of an acquired taste. Could nom down on Dexter, but...
SK is so hesitant. They could have definitely went for that play. They could have went for that dive. There's no equalizer live on Jwaow. You have explosive cast from Svenskeren. No flash on Jwaow.
Nyph wants to defend this pink ward. Get rid of CandyPanda. And he goes right back to the river with some extra support.
Very unusual hesitation on the top side from SK. They had 3 members there. They had Irelia, Gragas, Tahm, Kench. You can definitely dive or rumble Rek'Sai with that lineup.
Can reset tower aggro by eating a team.
Yeah.
Do it, Freddy. Eat somebody. Svenskeren's coming in. Round 2. Jwaw's already started to back away though. And unfortunately, no aggression up top.
Jwaow doesn't have flash. Communication, SK. You could have went for that play. You could have killed him. You should have been dead twice already.
Gotta pull the trigger. Blue buff number 2 has spawned for Elements. It was delayed from that jungle pressure much earlier in the game, and Froggen will be donated. He's got that tier stacking up as well as 2 long swords, and knowing that CandyPanda's not in lane and assuming Freddy's teleported, Elements are going to go for what looks like a very safe dragon.
Teleports are even. They're just gonna stand there and watch the dragon die. Makes me worried for Elements though as a team that, yes, they are 300 gold or 200 gold ahead right now and a dragon, but they could have been punished so much harder, and SK isn't showing it to them, really. Jwaow could have been dead twice already right now and gotten a small lead on that top lane. So going into the potential playoffs they are playing for, that could be a worrisome
Krepo,
topic.
last time these teams met was a 55-minute game. And yesterday, Elements showed that they like to play safe. So I think SK is returning the sentiment, erring on the side of caution, allowing Freddy to get beefy enough to tank anything and everything.
We are looking at the epitome of mid-game spikes, double Triforce on your mid lane, on your Corki in the bot lane as well. So if both of them hit that spike and group up, that damage potential goes through the roof. Froggen will still be kind of scaling up at that point. Kalista will obviously be a strong duelist. Elements going up for a group vision approach right now. This is good. We have really not seen that too much from them. Looks like nRated is ready to defend.
Dredge line connects onto Dexter. He's going to be able to tunnel away, and goes the depth charge. Gonna move in. Nyph is in trouble. Gets a 2-man knock-up. Chain of Corruption will stop SK from aggressing the barrel!
Knocks back Dexter too.
Nyph. Dexter's now in trouble. Fox gonna look for the blade switch. Candy's here as well. Dredge line connects again. SK. They finally stop being reserved and get themselves 2 kills.
That was an insane Gragas ultimate by Svenskeren. I'm almost wondering if he planned that. I feel like he was trying to finish Nyph off, and then he was like, oh, I got an additional, buy one, get one free type of champion deal. And they're laughing about it. SK
Massive smile.
Pick up 2 kills. They're fantastic cast from Svenskeren. Can't stress that enough. And yeah, Nyph, he has Unbreakable, but there's Ignite, plus Irelia damage for 2 damage that goes straight through that ultimate, so he can still melt in these fights.
Yes, he did. 0-1-1. Get a little caught out. He's got those Moby boots. Trying to look for some plays. SK have accelerated their lead thanks to the kills and some strong CSing. Small advantage for Freddy.
Yeah,
small advantage for Candy.
Just under the 10 CS a minute. We're sitting about 9 right now. 115 in 13 minutes. Doing pretty well on the Tahm Kench. And I wonder when he goes for that, my people need me type of ultimate. Shows up in a bit like surprise. Just want to see it.
I really want to see that Abyssal Voyage. I actually want to see him deliver Fox behind Froggen. That's what I'd like to see. For anybody that hasn't played Tahm Kench, of course, he's going to have a pretty decent range. I think rank 1 is around about Twisted Fate, rank 1 ultimate.
Might see some aggression in the middle here. Svenskeren setting up. We have Fox that can always dash to a minion.
Fox has gone in at very low HP, relying on the regen from those Transcendent Blades. Fox forced to flash defensively, and Sven's going to get chunked out. Piercing Arrow connects as well.
Svenskeren in another good defensive explosive cast this time. Trading on the bot lane too. Looks like Nyph and Tabzz are tired of just playing back.
We'll have to see if they can pick themselves up some kills. That CS lead is shrinking somewhat, but of course Candy's getting closer to his Triforce spike as well. Here comes Dexter. Giving up a death this game. Gonna get spotted out by a ward, which he instantly clears thanks to the sweeper, and this could be just for some tower pressure.
CandyPanda's running low on mana. If we extend this siege into 1 or 2 more waves, he's gonna be out of wave clear, and then Tabzz, Dexter, and Nyph could pressure, set up a dive. With Unbreakable and Fate's Call, you can dive for
Ever.
10 tower shots almost. Let's see what Svenskeren does in reply. He's made some right moves. Froggen's cleanse is down right now, so Body Slam Flash is live on Svenskeren. No explosive cast, but if Fox can connect that stun, that's enough. You know, Equilibrium Strike, stunning, followed Body Slam Flash engage. Froggen could drop.
And we did see that Fox was going for that traditional Max E, Max W, Tahm Kench, Freddy, maxing Devour, his W after Tongue Lash. So we'll see how that works out.
How well is Elements doing in the synchronized base department?
Tabzz is gone. Nyph is in trouble. He does have that Unbreakable. He may need it. Throws it down, but you cannot run away from that mine. Nyph cancels his back and will give up a kill to CandyPanda eventually.
Yeah, lack of communication there, honestly. Tabzz is like, guys, we can finish. Nyph is like, no, fight. And he gets left behind. They could have won that trade incredibly easy because there's not enough damage on CandyPanda because of how low he was on that mana. Tabzz prioritized base over support.
And every time we look up the top, Freddy is taking poke, but that grey health from his E is just allowing him to regen. And look at the CS, 30 CS advantage.
This is a typical top lane battle where you have a slightly favorable matchup against a player or a champion that does better in teamfights. You just slowly whittle away. Neither of these champions will ever all in each other. So unless a jungle shows up, not much is going to happen. Jwawow's flash has come back online. Svenskeren is posturing again, but he seems like he shows up and then thinks better of the dive every time. There we go.
Look at that! Devour, regurgitate. Freddy's looking for a kill. Here comes the support. The body slam flash, and the Froggen, the fat man, get themselves a kill.
I feel like they could have done that with 2 people though. They leave their mid lane exposed. Froggen takes down that tower in the top lane. Good combo. This could have happened so much earlier though, but it looked.
I'm so glad it didn't because that was awesome to watch.
Really awesome. It was actually good job from Svenskeren waiting though. He waited until Rumble was silencing himself by overheating, and then obviously he can't flash out of that cask.
We did just see the tower secured as well. So all 3 kills that Svenskeren has secured. Been phenomenal with that explosive cast play. Elements, they open up the mid lane, even a smite. Sven secures his own red buff. Now Dexter.
Nyph has no ulti yet. He's gonna get chunked here.
For a fight, Nyph is in trouble, does have flash. A few seconds before that Unbreakable will be available. Fate's Call is up, that's a double TP. Here comes Freddy. He's gonna get knocked up by Fate's Call. Dexter's pulled backwards by Dredgeline. Jwaow throws out the equalizer. It's not the greatest defensive peel from Elements. Nobody goes down in the exchange.
Just a lot of flashes burned. Look on the right side of your map. Dragon is live. The only member remaining on Elements with flash right now is Tabzz on Kalista.
Big minion wave pushing towards Elements up top. Abyssal Voyage. Will Freddy be using it? Most likely not. Nobody that he wants to deliver is around. Dragon number 2 secured despite Elements losing gold over the last few minutes.
Kind of phenomenal that SK managed to get 2,000 gold ahead right here. Some good plays. Svenskeren definitely is the man to watch. Let's see if somebody of Elements is going to face check here. Jwaow gets caught out a little bit. Wards in time.
Run, run, run! That has to be one of the funniest animations.
What did it do is like, Svenskeren, let me carry you, buddy. Those 5 steps you were about to take, let me take them forward. It's like, we need a Tahm Kench, Frodo, and Samwise skin combination. Let me carry you, Frodo. I can't carry the ring, I will carry you.
On a more serious note, that Devour does a lot of damage. Rank 4 at the moment. And if he can nom enemy champions, 29% of their maximum health as magic damage. That hurts.
It's the counter to Tahm Kench. You don't build health. Not really, though, because you need that.
And we do
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if we can actually get there in teamfights. Yes, everything looks nice on paper, but Tahm Kench getting to a carry, you have to remember, if a traditional top laner can get this close to a carry, which is the range of Devour, say it's an Irelia or something else, it will just straight up kill the carry. Instead, Tahm Kench will eat it and deal 1/3 of his health in maximum magic damage. So, you know, it looks nice on paper. We have to see how it plays out in reality.
I'm sure we'll find out, because the Trinity Force spikes have been picked up thanks to the kills that SK have secured. Fox, we know, has gone to the split pushing role once he's been enabled. And we know that there is half map pressure from Freddy's Tahm Kench. He can bring with him some support if he wants to. On the other side, Elements have also hit some big item spikes. Blade picked up a few minutes ago for Tabzz. Froggen, oh, he's in trouble. Equilibrium Strike comes out. Ignite is burning. Froggen will be going down, but the Equalizer might pick up Fox. Flame Splitter plus the tower will trade 1 for 1. Defensive explosive cast from Svenskeren, and there's no teleport for Freddy up top. Chilling Smite is going to slow Sven. Elements continuing to chase. Look at the map. Down bottom, Candy is shoving out. He will get a tower, and SK come out ahead in the trade.
Yeah, Fox goes in. Yes, it's a trade kill, but it requires more members of Elements to deal with that. This obviously opens up the bot lane. Good secure by CandyPanda. SK is now 2 towers to 1. Is moving around, trying to get some deep vision right here.
Oh, that's not the place you want to be. CandyPanda gets caught up. Fate's Call comes backwards. Nyph goes forwards. And Rater's the man that gets knocked up. He's going to put a lot of damage down. He might be able to kill Tabzz. Tabzz, summon a heal. Will be able to sustain with that Blade of the Rune King. A flash? Minions not going to be able to pick it up. Tabzz, that got a little messy and a little close. CandyPanda took far too long to get back into range.
CandyPanda didn't want to linger around, walked in the end, and saw just how close Tabzz came to dying. Again, miscommunication. Both these bot lanes are not on the same page in terms of where their enemies are, what they want to do, how they want to play out these matchups. We've seen it before when it was CandyPanda playing Kalista, and he kept pulling back and nRated whenever nRated wanted to go in. Same thing right now for Elements right here.
Jwaow is the next target. Transcendent Blade. Overheating. Gonna get that scrap heap shield. Continuing to run. Fox is not slowed. And Jwaow gets away. So close.
And Freddy woggle to the mid. I'm Kench has to be one of the funniest champions out there.
Missed the tongue punch.
Oh, you have though.
2,500 hit points with that Sunfire and Spectre's Cowl. That's a front line if ever I've seen one. Gonna have the support of nRated as Svenskeren set up at the Raptors.
So Fox has now become the split pusher on the top lane. Obviously has great duel potential. Svenskeren set up around these Raptors. Look at the wards above Svenskeren as well. Elements have no control of their top side red jungle.
Hey.
Now they do. One ward. They spot out Svenskeren. However, I still don't see what he's doing. He could be lurking around for the dive, or he could be moving top to dive Jwaow. They have no information whatsoever. They're pressured in the mid lane, pressured in the bot lane. This is the way SK like playing.
They've been enabled. Got themselves a decent gold lead. Freddy doesn't connect with the tongue lash. Dexter's decided he wants to get some Fogwa. Freddy forced to flash defensively, and nRated will get rendered, but he will survive. Nobody goes down.
Yeah, failed combo from Nyph allows nRated to escape there. Obviously, Elements spot out that Svenskeren could be moved to the top lane. This leaves 4 members against 3 in the mid lane. Easy engage, but Element messed it up mechanically. Game stays even.
Elements continue to play from behind. Lost control of their jungle, which is allowing SK the freedom to make these setups in middle and pressure top.
And you can't afford to make these mistakes if you're already fighting for vision. We see it right there. Dexter has to use his sweeper and his oracle buffs to get even into the first brush into his jungle. At that point, if you get an opening, you get an engage somewhere, you have to make it work, you have to make it stick. Because otherwise, Fox is going to continue pressure top. If you just beat out Jwaow, especially once those harpoons go on cooldown, no more defensive tools.
With the fact that Fox has been moving between lanes and looking to set up fights, he is falling further behind in CS. Yesterday, Froggen was farming up a Storm. Today, Froggen is farming up a Storm. 50 advantage over his opponent. But that same difference is between Freddy and Jwaow. So interesting dynamic.
So yeah,
there's different carries of different farm priorities.
Freddy making up for his early game split push you know, offensive tools with that Sunfire Cape wants to get more wave through, you know, don't get stuck too slow, too long and make it too slow with champion on Tahm Kench. That's why you go for Sunfire. Then of course Spirit Visage, fantastic on Tahm Kench for regeneration when you get that gray health back for you.
Dragon number 3 has spawned. Elements have secured the previous 2 uncontested.
They win 5v5, remember that. They have the better 5v5 composition because Fox is a skirmisher, duelist. Freddy is Tahm Kench.
Freddy is hungry.
And Jwaow is obviously Rumble, who thrives around these Baron fights. How well can Elements use their zone control? Froggen's ultimate will be crucial as well. Just lock it down on somebody and it will spread within the team, and SK will have to really commit for these kills. They have to dive deep. They only have one poke threat, really. On CandyPanda, yes, Tahm Kench pokes you a little bit, but not quite enough.
Well, 5v5s are only good when it is 5v5. Jwaow, wow, that chain of corruption is spreading well. Equalizer comes out just before Jwaw's taken out. Dexter's in the back line, and with Fox out, can Froggen run amok? Svenskeren forced to flash defensively. Froggen follows suit. It's a 1-for-2. Tabzz continues to hammer away. Look at that shield from the thick skin. Freddy is going to be able to sustain for days. And he's going to be able to peel backwards. It's a 4 versus 3. Froggen still has mana, so those piercing arrows help. Eat the scuttle crab, throw the scuttle crab. Dragon's being pulled away. There's a lot of Ren stacks on that already. Tabzz actually pulled the trigger.
nRated made the right decision there, engaging into a choke point. You don't want to let Elements get into the area, start poking out, so you have to focus it out. Jwaow dropped very quickly, but still good ultimate from Froggen. It spread through the entire team, and then eventually carries went down. We're gonna check out later if we get the replay what Tabzz and Nyph were doing exactly in that fight. It felt like they were very slow to get there, and I feel like Elements played that fight 3v5 for the majority of it. Still come out on top. Third dragon for Elements. Let's watch it again. Keep your eyes on Tabzz and Nyph. They come from the right side, so they're not put up together. Jwaow has the flash, and then Fox, he gets singled out. Okay, that's what they were doing in this fight. Have to deal with Fox, and obviously, good peel by Nyph. Nyph no longer has summoners or cooldowns available. He just goes for zoning. Just keep CandyPanda. CandyPanda is not doing any damage in this fight, so it looked like a mistake initially. Actually ended up being a good job by Tabzz and Nyph working together to take down Irelia, which you have to do. You can't leave your carry exposed alone against Irelia. This is your main priority in fights. Peel her away. And then, obviously, in such chaos, CandyPanda had no clue what the cooldown on Pulverize was. So Nyph just walked up, acted as if he had it, and then popped the ultimate. Good zoning by Nyph at the end of the fight.
I was watching Freddy as well. He chunked out Dexter a lot. Unfortunately, because they lost his damage dealer, it simply didn't matter. So in the replay, Elements were able to secure their red buff, close a little bit of the gold lead, and they got the very important third dragon on track for Aspect, and very important, Elements pushed SK away. So despite SK's positioning and initiation, it's Elements that maintain control of the dragon.
Remember, how did SK get ahead this game? It was by spreading out, putting pressure individually in every lane. They never really grouped. That's how they accrue these advantages, with Svenskeren hovering between the lanes and finding openings. SK's been playing a group style as of late. And Elements' composition obviously thrives in that environment. Win condition for Elements will definitely be the 5 dragons, and unless SK can get deep wards, prevent Elements from setting up that play, make a pick when they're getting into position. Elements are right on track to do that in this game.
Elements going to continue to play the dragon game. It took a long time yesterday before they eventually closed it out, but the team composition will be a little more conducive today. They're at a pink ward in the tri-bush and set up for the bottom of the tower. This is only the second tower of the game. Abyssal Voyage for the first time brings nRated to the party, and they watch the tower go down.
They watch the tower die, but they do it with style points. But if you look at the other side of the map, where is Gragas? Where is Irelia? They're not putting any pressure anywhere else. And obviously, Elements will be happy to see that. They have decent vision control for Jwaow in the top lane, so he can safely push this wave deeper than he could before. Dexter has to dodge, survive. That's what Elements have to do. Hang on whenever somebody's on the side lane. Listen to group and then poke them as they come to contest your vision. Froggen has very good accuracy on that Varus.
That's for sure. Showing it now. Clearing out those minion waves. Froggen's.
I mean, how are you going to get to the tower? Your Irelia's melee range. Tahm Kench is Tahm Kench. And Corki obviously is still stuck on the bot lane. So very, very poor decision to keep grouping in that mid lane from SK Gaming.
Let's see if SK adapt. Fox with the Blade of the Rune King and Trinity Force is a terrifying threat who actually nobody can deal with on the side of Elements, but because of the rotation down bottom, might be able to get a good chunk down. Svenskeren is tanking up the tower, Gonna peel away. Now it's minion wave is cleared. nRated will be the next target. There's a little bit of
Found Fox though in the river. It's
movement from Element. Fox, or who has found who? Nyph goes down Unbreakable will. Freddy's gonna get the tongue lash. First proc of that acquired taste. Nyph will go down. He gets the pulverize off before getting dropped. Mine is gonna follow through onto Jwaow. So tower and a kill. SK are
SK kept grouping up so much in random lanes that Elements was used to doing that, and suddenly they break the mold. They go for that rotation to the bot lane. Nobody's defending that. They use the Rumble ultimate. Yes, Nyph died 500 times. Still not quite at my death total, so he still has a way to go. I don't want to play any LCS. Shame.
Sounds like you're cheating in that statistic.
Yeah, I'm just really good at dying. Right now, Baron is exposed. See if SK is even aware of this, because they see Froggen hovering around, but it seems to set their eyes on the mid lane tower. They freak out.
That is a Kalista. That's a lot of stacks.
Well, that's good. Baron's going to go down, so let's see. SK figured out once they see those Baron imparted minions coming pushing back at them. And nRated,
it's too late.
It's going to get a whiff of it now, but
far too late. Elements sneak the Baron at the cost of the last remaining outer turret. So despite being down in gold, as we're ticking 30 minutes, Elements now have the ability to defend against some of the side lane pressure.
Definitely. So Order can just group up and siege right now. The limited amount of wave clear from SK will no longer be enough. Elements can do what they like doing with this competition, which is straight up group. Fox will have to counteract that by just immediately start split pushing, but he doesn't seem comfortable doing so because he doesn't have the vision. Let's see if SK can prevent this push from Elements by not answering it in the same lane. They have to answer it in different lanes. Legit just start split pushing left and right when Elements go down the middle lane.
Luckily for SK, Banner of Command for nRated helped a little in dealing with some of this side lane pressure, but CandyPanda cannot afford to get poked out. He's the primary wave clear for SK's squad, and Elements still playing from behind. Randuin's Omen picked up for Froggen. If there was ever a sign that he was worried about being dove.
I mean, he's comfortable with the amount of damage his team has. They're running a triple threat composition, so he's fine in specking a defensive item. Randuin's obviously works very well. Only limited amounts of magic damage on the side of SK Gaming, and he's gonna have to deal just mostly with that Irelia jumping him and CandyPanda following up with some auto attacks.
I think it's also good to highlight that Tabzz picked up a fairly early QSS as well. Itemization in Elements is something we questioned a little yesterday, or at least Deficio was wondering where the Leandries was on that AP cog. Could it have made a difference? You can argue and debate until the sun comes up, but fairly smart in this matchup to help deal with the threats.
Now, how well can they close? They look like they're thwarting their push priority of the 4th dragon, so they're using that Baron buff to buy some time to get secure a 4th dragon instead of going for a tower immediately. Look at the top wave though, that's big. That could be a follow-up objective for SK Gaming.
Dragon secured, uncontested. SK had vision, but little else. The 5v5s in favor of Elements. Remember, you've said it since picks and bans. Elements are using Baron relatively well. Top and bottom pushing against them though. Someone has to go deal with that.
Their bot wave should have bounced by now and should be pushing out. And due to the location that wave is in, even if you don't see the exact numbers of minions on your creep, on your minimap, it will push towards SK Gaming on the bot lane. However, top lane is pushing quicker, so they need to make this wave work.
A lot of damage on that inner turret, 50% done. Devour a minion, chuck it back at Elements, so you can see those little fishies. 2 stacks.
If Elements stay here, they're yielding their top tower, but that means they're going for an aggressive play, potentially a dive here on this tower.
I like to think the latter, though. Elements is not the team that I think does that. Let's see if they can prove me wrong. Transcend in place for wave clear. Elements focusing the tower. They've got the Baron empowered minions, and they brute force their way to tower number 4 and close the gold deficit to 1,000.
Top lane tower still is at 80% HP, so will definitely not go down in that single wave there. Secure and open up the map even more. Now the game will slow down. Baron buff will run out. Gold is still 1,000 ahead of SK Gaming, so we'll likely see a bit of a lull, a bit of a pause here until the next Baron or Dragon, which will spawn roughly in the same time frame, maybe a minute or so apart. So it'll definitely be an interesting exchange to see who prioritizes what. If Elements do the right thing with good shot calling, they can completely put SK in an impossible position where either they take the Baron and they give up 5th Dragon, or the other way around, you know, try and stop Elements from getting that 5th Dragon, and in process doing so, give up Baron buff.
There's also the possibility to lose the game in that scenario. Because yesterday Elements got to 4 dragons and then unfortunately didn't get the next.
All jokes aside, I'm really enjoying support building more banner of commands because you can make a map-wide play from your base. You buff a cannon buff, you buff a cannon creep minion in the bot lane, for example, and you move top, and then you have side lane pressure. Manipulating side waves just makes shot calling so much easier, so much pressure you add up just by some single buffed up cannon creep that you do. You can name them too, if you so choose.
I like to do that. Talk me away. SK, continue to group. SK, continue to not look for deep vision. They're not unlocking Fox's power.
And Fox has a lot of CDR. He picked up Frozen Heart because he's going to be diving on Froggen, magic damage, and Tabzz. He doesn't get stuck in the equalizer from Jwaow, who gets aggressive now.
That's an early hourglass. Tabzz is down. CandyPanda and Fox just destroy him. Equalizer will buy some time. Freddy is going to eat Nyph. Nyph will throw down that unbreakable will as Froggen is shooting piercing arrow after piercing arrow. Chain of Corruption will hold some of the damage and Freddy eats Nyph for a second time. That's a good piece of steak and the flank is out.
Yeah, Tabzz hovering around his top laner Jwaow trying to defend it, but then he realizes he's an AD carry against an Irelia and a Nautilus. He just straight up dies. Jwaow goes down in the process. Poor map move by Elements. They're good at grouping if they're all 5 together, but they can't go through these choke points in uneven numbers.
It's happening again, Krepo. 4 dragons Elements can get to. And then some positional errors cost them an inner turret. And once again, cost them the gold lead. Oh yeah, Abyssal Void as well.
Flash here from nRated opening up. Dredgeline goes on Tabzz. He is stuck. He should have moved towards his team on the bottom side. Jwaow still going down, and Fox. If Fox gets left alone, well, we commonly see Nyph go down again. If Fox gets left alone against any of these AD-based champions, he will tear through them with Frozen Heart. Froggen nor Kalista can really deal with him, so it's up to Jwaow's magic damage to take him down. But Jwaow hasn't been landing the greatest equalizers, and Elements really need to group and use the peel provided by their jungler and support together to really survive and get this triple threat composition rolling.
1 minute to Baron, 2 minutes to Dragon. Elements have had all of the previews. All dragons and the single Baron that's been secured. But SK, with that last teamfight victory, have got some great vision into the jungle of Elements. So there are now tools available. Abyssal Voyages up for Freddy. Teleports up for Freddy.
Here we go. He's going behind Elements, it seems, pinged on the map.
Right in the middle. Nyph is the man that's going to have to get eaten. Unbreakable comes up. No, it was Fate's call. Pulled backwards by Tabzz. Nyph is going to just punch Freddy away as Dexter's now looking for more. He's flashed into the team. Jwow's coming forward. The equalizer has already been used. Jwow's gone golden in Hourglass. Where is Tabzz? He's trying to peel backwards. 15 seconds until Baron. SK win another team fight by pulling the trigger first.
Yeah, Elements are playing these fights without poking first, and SK has just gotten so tanky. Initially, Fox would die and go trade even, but because he now has enough base damage just from the true damage on his W, the Triforce obviously provide a lot of damage later with the Borg, he can now spec defensively. He got that Frozen Heart and Ninja Tabi, and outside of the magic damage, it's incredibly hard to kill him. We said it earlier. Now he can just wait. Instead of having to die first in the fights, SK is now tanky enough to survive this poke and just wait until somebody on Elements overextends, overconnects. Elements did not have to take that engage, remember. Dexter did not have to tunnel inwards and flash forward. Jwaow did not have to walk forward, but they did. And it cost them the mistakes again.
And with every team fight, SK is just growing their lead. The Baron and Dragon timers are going to get synced up very, very soon. There's aspect for Elements, so SK do not want to give that one away. They may be able to get in behind Elements. Abyssal Voyage is being channeled. Nyph once again is going to be the focus. Dredgeline, that connects onto Tabzz. Fate's Call is going to pull Nyph backwards as Jwaow is down. Freddy's running amok. Look at that grey health. That becomes a 2,000 hit point shield. Freddy's also got the face of the mountain. Going to spit out nRated. Dredgeline this time doesn't connect. Jwow's gone out, and we did see Nyph go back in for the head run pulverize. 2 more members of Elements down.
Yeah, look at Jwaow. You don't even need to see what happened in the fight. Teleport is down, Equalizer is not. He TP'd in, he immediately got blown up, and at the same time, Elements could not really get anything done. However, SK is forgetting about the 5th dragon here. Could have easily guarded that with 1 or 2 members and went for the Baron, but might be a very interesting late game here.
So this is an interesting question. We've often had inhibitor for Baron and the debates of which is better. But it's not super often you have Aspect or Baron.
The thing is, it's not an either-or equation for SK Gaming. They could have had 1 dragon plus map control, versus trading a Baron for a Dragon. They could have easily walked over to the Dragon, put 2 deep wards, went over and secured the Baron area, and then played the map from then on. We've seen that now in these group fights, Elements no longer have the edge. SK have continuously found ways to open up the map. They just got a little, I guess, just excited that they won that fight and went for the Baron, but it may come to bite them depending on how well Elements can poke. See, getting that 2 damage over time will tear through the basic defensive stats. Yes, it's nice if you have 250 armor or something like that. 2 damage is not going to care and just tear right through it. So, it does make this game very, very excited right now at the 39-minute mark.
Pressure on Elements to make use of the aspect of the Dragon. They're down in gold, they're down in kills, down in towers. But they do have tools.
Remember, not everybody did get aspect. Froggen, Nyph does not have aspect, and then Jwaow doesn't seem like he has it either.
That's important, actually.
That is very big, so Equalizer will not put on aspect on anybody else, so could have waited with that. Watch for Froggen and Tabzz' damage in these fights.
Super important that Froggen lands those piercing arrows.
Just AoE. Froggen needs to hit everybody once. Ideally. Yeah, Froggen.
Just do it. Just go.
Hit
Come
everybody.
on. 5 champions. I mean, he did it yesterday, multiple times. But I think it's a little easier on Cosmo.
We don't talk about the Cosmo anymore.
We do not. On the mini-map, you can see that banner of command minion.
This is why I like
another
it.
siege. Look at the pressure.
It's not like nRated walked over there and buffed that minion. No. He buffed that when it was in his base, and he now set up a play that 40 seconds later manifests itself in the bot lane and now puts a time pressure on Elements. A normal slow pushing wave will bounce back from your tower. Yes, you might lose half a tower. That Baron buff creeps just will push on through, and in addition, you get the gold. Every minion that cannon kills, you also get the gold from, so money in the bank.
Impart minion's going to try to defend against this very, very large minion wave up top. Elements have met it in full force. Nyph is not with the team at the moment. Does actually start moving down, but look, Elements don't fully commit to the tower,
because
and
they're so afraid to even get into tower range because of this hard engage. You have the dredge line that's charged from nRated coming out. You have Fox being able to dive in. Freddy can teleport behind you technically with Tahm Kench.
Inhibitor turret's going to go down. I mean, that's...
We did lose the Baron buff creep, or the Banter of Command buff creeps, but Elements obviously not achieving anything in this top lane, so they just traded.
Tower, I think it should be defended.
We're going to see an equalizer.
Jwow's going to get in range, I believe. So, 41 minutes has gone by. Elements, despite the control they had earlier, have lost multiple team fights. Elements are fighting for a playoff hope. SK cannot improve their seed. SK cannot improve their position in the standings. They are 9th in Summer Split. But for Elements, they could tie with Giants. They could get into playoffs if they can pull out a win. If not, they will be tied with Gambit at that 7 and 11 record.
Another Banner of Command buff minion here, and this is the problem for Elements. When you are ahead, itemizing defensively after you're ahead is fine because you still have enough raw damage to make that item, you know, worth itself use. You defend yourself and you have more damage than the enemy, but if you then screw up the next 2 fights, you lack damage that you would have had if you spec defensively, so you kind of give yourself a hole. Froggen, obviously, imagine if he had another offensive item at his disposal instead of that early Wandu. Instead, he would have had more poke in contesting these areas, but he had sufficient damage at the time, just because as a team, Elements failed to capitalize on that. He now fell behind a little bit. Same for Tabzz and a QSS.
Baron has timed out. Aspect has as well. Timing is correct. Ready. Voyage is going to come in to the middle of Elements. Dexter's going to get a knock-up, and Nyph once again will get eaten. Fate's Call actually will save him, so I retract the statement. Nyph decides to go back in. Flash is available. Could get eaten once more. There goes the mine. It will connect. A stun. We see Freddy looking for more. Defensive flash from Nyph. He's nommed the Fox. That's going to keep Fox alive. The Poke wars continue. Elements not losing a member this time for the first time in 3 team fights.
I almost feel like Nyph wants to use that knock-up from the Fate's Call. Had to flash out defensively. Imagine if he could save that flash. Get a flank off later in the fights when SK is sieging. Just because Fate's Call gets used does not mean you have to use it offensively. Svenskeren now setting up for the TH2 tower in the top lane. Just take it down.
Modern day version of Lee's Syndrome. Nyph goes in offensively, doesn't have flash this time. Chain of Corruption is spreading. Nyph is looking to get damage down, but he's hopped away from his team. That's 2 kills for SK. Dexter may go down as well. He's going to flash over the wall. Tongue Lash does not get a stun. SK still have a banner of command-empowered minion. CandyPanda was able to chase down Dexter, and he should come back to his teammates. SK on the verge of cracking open Element's base. 10,000 gold lead thanks to so many one team fights. They're gonna get an inhibitor as well. They may not stop.
They could definitely look to close this game if they can get to Froggen. So many offensive tools, just one dredge line, one dash from Fox. Equalizer comes out again, that's a cooldown. Minions are gone, they're tanking in towers. They'll have to yield.
Defensively, Chain of Corruption is going to catch. Piercing Arrow comes up, and look at how tanky Freddy is. Devours CandyPanda to get out alive. So Element's minions did get a tower down bottom, but wow, are Elements coming apart at the seams when it comes to team fights.
Even if Elements lose this, they technically still have a shot at playoffs, I believe, but what worries me is their play right now. They're so uncoordinated. They're still not getting on the same page. Nyph went in with that face call. Now Nyph went in again without Unbreakable. They started a fight. They would inevitably lose. Instead of just defending their nexus or their base inhibitor towers. Now they're bringing up all the pressure for Aspect. They did keep SK busy, so they have to rush down this dragon.
They should be able to get this one.
Get the hell out of there. CandyPanda can steal though.
Come over Candypanda. He steals it! The first dragon of the game! CandyPanda's given SK one more tool. nRated's going to throw out the mine. Froggen is going to cleanse. At least get rid of some of the slow once more. Nyph goes down. Unlucky number 7. And Elements have to defend one man down.
They go for the play, but they don't save some damage to finish it off at the end. See, I had no idea of where Corki was on the map. This is fundamental for the late game for SK Gaming. They have full control of the map. They have a top lane inhibitor down. They deny Aspect. Baron is about to come up. One more second and it's live. Full control 2. Elements is very scared to face check. Their support is still down. They're playing this map 4v5 and then nRated. Once the depth charge comes available, he can just press R for the hard engage.
That's something SK have done multiple times. A third frozen path. Mallet picked up for Fox as well. So much hit points. There's no ways Elements can get close enough to contest. And the Baron is secured now for SK. They're second of the game. By Jwaow! Hourglass is available. Doesn't even get used. No assist from anybody else. Jwaow and Nyph have not been on their game. And sadly, that has been the problem for Elements for several weeks now.
12 out of the 17 deaths come from the top laner and the support for this Elements lineup. And had a very good early to mid game, especially when they group, but eventually SK Gaming got too tanky to deal with it. Those frozen hearts are just making so much work.
Righteous Glory comes out for nRated. He's zoning Elements away. They do not have their top laner. This is 5-on-4.
Could be the final push.
In a best case scenario, Banner and Baron empowered minions. Another tower will fall. SK Gaming are looking to crush Elements' hopes.
Tahm Kench, 100% win rate on the cusp of it. Told you before, this champion is the best top laner in the game.
Elements defending for their lives. 10 seconds before Jwaow is up. He should have the equalizer available, but there are super minions to deal with. Froggen goes all the way forward. Throws out that hail of arrows. Piercing Arrow trying to clear out minions. Fox and Candy, they're on the bottom nexus turret. Fox does get caught out. That's a good equalizer this time. Burning through SK, but it might be too late. The SK are simply too tanky. Sven is getting caught out by those auto attacks from Tabzz. Rend is available. Will he be able to get a kill? He does, but they've traded 2 for 2. Junglers and supports down. We see Freddy on Tahm Kench. Noms Froggen trying to run away. An acquired taste will not be enough. Tabzz rent him for the kill. 3 for 3. Jwaow is alive. Candy and Fox go back in. They get Tabzz. Jwaow goes down to CandyPanda. CandyPanda and SK Gaming will give Elements their 11th loss of the summer split. And for Elements to make playoffs, they have to hope for a 3-way tie and hope for Rocket to lose.
Remember, SK picking up this game does put Elements in that position you just described. Elements obviously are ahead 2-0 against Gambit and Rocket. That 3-way tie could be won by them and then put the remaining members in a 2-way tie. They will definitely be watching that Rocket match later on, which is next. And then the last match of the day will be Unicorns of Love against Fnatic. But this SK lineup, last game of the season. I mean, Freddy came out in an interview just straight up said this is the end of this SK lineup. It will not happen anymore, so it must feel good for them to end the split somewhat on a victory. Get that last walk with your teammates, because you still spent the last 6 months with them in the same house, in the same training environment. It may have not worked out, but having this victory right here must feel good.
I want to expand on that. SK Gaming placed second in spring 2014, placed third in summer 2014. They went to Worlds. Fourth in spring 2015, one position down every split until now, where it's come apart at the seams. SK smiles on their faces. They ended strong, but even so, it is a promotion tournament that they are destined for. They have to re-qualify for the LCS for 2016.
This man right here, when he's in his comfort zone and he can make the plays that he can do so well, Deficio described it as Svenskeren is one of those few junglers in Europe that can carry a game on himself. He did it definitely so in the early game today. Some beautiful explosive casts. I still remember that one on Tier 1 mid tower where he finished off Nyph. Not sure if it was intentional, I'll have to ask him later. But he knocked back Dexter and he just got 2 kills with 1 ultimate. A fantastic play right there, and he definitely carried the early game for SK Gaming, and then eventually, surprisingly so, they did get very tanky because it's so hard for Rumble to put out continuous damage before those fights, and then eventually after Equalize it doesn't connect and lock people down. Yeah, and just not enough damage. Frozen Hearts were definitely good purchases this game.
It doesn't help when Jwawow's equalizers are not hitting multiple times as well. I just want to mention really fast, with SK picking up that victory, maximum number of tiebreakers at the end of today will be 1 game. 1 game. We were down from 11 possibilities yesterday, down to 6 possible today. It is now only 1. So
you see the collective smile of the production crew behind the cameras.
We are all sad, unfortunately, because tiebreakers are something that we do particularly enjoy. But Roccat still looking to try and make their way into the playoffs. Head-to-heads are going to determine some of these tiebreakers. We will break them down once we get a little later into the broadcast. But for Elements, it is another disappointing split.
Yep. Same story. Different members every time, honestly. Just doesn't quite connect every time. There's so much hope, so much potential, so many dreams that eventually get crushed. And then at the end, they get so close. Last split as well, there was the race for, do we get 6th place? We really want 7th place. Please let it be 7th place. Hell no, we don't want 8th place, because the difference between having to play to stay in the LCS or just getting the time to build up another roster or potentially getting that, Hail Mary into playoffs, it's so different mindset-wise. So at least they should be happy that they likely just end up in the 7th place. But just, is there still a possibility for them to end up? I don't think there is, actually. I don't think they can actually end up in the promotion tournament.
Because of head-to-heads.
Because of head-to-heads. So that's good for Elements in that regard.
Elements have a very good head-to-head record against the teams that are directly around them. But what it also means is Gambit maybe going down to the promotion tournament, maybe going 7th. Roccat in a similar position. I need to verify the head-to-head records. But those are the teams that are now vying for those 6th, 7th, 8th positions, because Giants are looking pretty comfortable in 5th. At that 8 and 10, they're looking safer with Elements losing. Well, anyways, we'll break that down just a little bit later. We're going to head over to the analyst desk.